Well, welcome one and all to the Bike Racing Without Mercy training vlog. Today's Wednesday and it's Ed's baseline test for his aerobic athletes, i.e. myself and many others. We've just started the test and it comprises 10 minutes at 92 to 95% of FTP, i.e. 270 to 280 watts, then 15 minutes at FTP, which was 295 watts. We'll see if it still is. And after that 15 minutes, you can see we have a progressive ramp in power, adding 5 to 10 watts every 3 minutes, and to see how long you can last. So just going to establish the equilibrium, the breathing and the cadence, and I'll report back. And as an FYI, I did indeed do the warm-up, but once again I managed to get lost in the jungle and had to restart the training in order to find my way back to out the Zwift. Yes, I really am that bad a navigator. I can get lost in a virtual environment with only 2 directions to go. Anyway, I'll report back. Just coming to the transition to 295. Here we go. See if I can just stay in the same gear. Squeeze a little harder on the pedals. It's going to be difficult, this. Just trying to float on the pedals and feel good about life. Let's check out the training I did yesterday to hopefully open up the legs and the lungs a little bit for what I hope is a decent baseline test today. I'll report back. 46. Well, welcome to Tuesday morning, and I'm in search of some progression. Well, Laverack has demanded such. Zone 3 overs and unders, 50 seconds at 225, 10 seconds at 400. Now, rather than 2 blocks of 20 minutes last week, it's 2 blocks of 30 minutes. Albeit last week, I merged the 2 blocks of 20 into one. This week, I've taken a 5 minutes recovery at zone 2, and this is going to be the final 10-second sprint in the second block of 30. I've been at or above the power range throughout, feels good. Yesterday was a rest day. Nice strong finish. Well, that felt good to bank the progression, opening up the legs, the heart and the lungs nicely for tomorrow's test that you're watching now. Time to spin down and have the post-ride nutrition and carb up. Today, as ever, or as often, sorry, was fasted. Well, having had a very quick shower and a conference call, it's time to address the post-ride nutrition, and all the usual accoutrements here are on the deck. Now, it was a fasted training, 1400 calories burned off, half an hour zone 2, and then the big block of training that you just saw. So the amino acids from the protein are going to repair damaged muscle tissue, ultimate greens to deliver vitamins, minerals and nutrients for good blood and heart health, but also to support the immune system, and also the carbohydrates. Now, I've got a hard test tomorrow, so the carbohydrates are important. And because the body has been depleted, including of glycogen, it's primed now to take all these carbs, break them down and replenish the glycogen stores. It's kind of a good little window to get in your carbs and top things up. So nice generous serving here of, well, the honey nut, oh dear, bit of spillage, the honey nut cornflakes, but also an M&S Ice Spice bar. And I think you'll agree this must be the breakfast of kings. Well, all in here, I reckon about 100 grams of carbohydrates, many of them kind of simple sugars, i.e. quickly digested and broken down, causes a nice big spike in the insulin. They're absorbed quickly into the bloodstream, get taken into the liver, the brain and the muscles to replenish glycogen stores and help fuel the big test tomorrow. Fingers crossed, the level of concern is high.
30 now. Well, I found my equilibrium. It's super challenging, but doable. So check out what I had for tea last night to help fuel for the day. Rice was the name of the game.
Now here's a filling dinner that's not going to break the calorie bank, but it's certainly going to top up the glycogen stores and fuel tomorrow's test. You got 75 grams of carbs from the rice there, about 20-25 grams of protein from the tuna, very low fat, about 500 calories all in, maybe a tad extra once I had some barbecue sauce, my certain little je ne sais quoi.
41. Just coming to the transition now to 300 watts for 3 minutes. Feeling good. I've warmed up into this nicely. There we go. Transition to 315 incoming. Super hard. .320 incoming. Lactic acid now. .335 coming shortly. If you like the video, please remember to give it a like, a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll be super grateful. Wowie. That was tough. Dear, oh dear. I got further into it than I anticipated. I was dreading this all day yesterday. My heart rate was starting to fall towards the end of it. That often happens to me just before I blow up. Not sure why that is. I guess it's the body putting a brake on the amount of oxygen that's going to get distributed to the muscles to slow you down. We'll have a look at the data in a second. Now, unlike yesterday, I also took on carbs in the form of sugar, along with the amino acids and a little bit of coffee before this ride. Definitely, I was burning through all kinds of muscle glycogen, all kinds. Catch you in a second. Well, Ed is the master of the negative split and setting a nice ramp of power to get the best out of both himself and his trainees. And I always love it when he sets a ramp like that. I definitely respond well to it. My maximum 20-minute power within that, 35 minutes in total, I got into the test, was 306 watts. On the iPad, that's a personal best. On a PC, I've had 310 watts recently. So super happy with that. I mean, if you were to take that final 20 minutes of the 35 as an FTP test, it would indicate about a 291 FTP. And that is not probably far off the truth, bearing in mind the last time I did an hour of power on the Mont Ventoux live stream, I got 291 watts exactly for the hour. So looking to the timeline, you can see the ramp there. I was in the power range throughout, and it always feels good just to gradually eke up the exertion and the power, and then we get into that final 10 minutes of absolute hell, but you kind of feel elated while you're in it, just trying to push the pedal super nicely. So I was happy there to get 10 minutes into that incremental part of the ramp.
Well, I've got the Training Peaks data up here, and I should also mention that before undertaking the test, I deliberately hadn't asked Ed what it was all about. I just wanted to give it my best effort, and I knew it looked disgusting. Obviously, I suspected it could be FTP orientated, given that I'm just coming back, obviously, from the operation. Now, you can see here we've highlighted the 35-minute test itself. Average power was 295 watts, and it turns out that's how you calculate your FTP in this test. It's the average power for the full duration of the test. So the deeper you get in to those 3-minute ramps, the higher FTP is going to be. And happily, that was in line with the prediction from Ed's WKO software, which had also predicted 295 for me, which is in line with where I was, I guess, pre-op, which is a nice little touch, I guess. The whole point about this baseline test is it's more optimal for those riders who are more kind of aerobically gifted, a bit like myself, rather than anaerobically gifted. And it's deliberately a test to exhaustion. Those last 3-minute ramps are super, super difficult, but they really, I guess, ramp up the nervous system, ramp up the aerobic system, and really you conk out when you conk out. And therefore, I guess it's a pretty consistent way to test your FTP. Really enjoyed it, definitely recommend it. And we can also highlight here some decent 10-minute power, 318 watts, and as I say, 20-minute power, 306 watts within all of that.